You want a podcast? Welcome to Flute 360, the podcast that reminds you everything is connected. I'm Dr. Heidi Begay, flutist, educator, creative entrepreneur, and follower of Christ. Here we explore the full circle, the 360 of your life as a musician. Because who you are as a person shapes who you are as an artist. And the lessons you learn outside the practice room are just as vital as the hours with your flute in hand. From health and spiritual growth to artistry and career fulfillment, this space is where it all intersects. Come as you are. There's a seat for you at the Flute 360 table. Today's episode is 342, and it's titled Our Holistic Living Story, Energy, Health, and Focus with Eric Jay Begay, Part 2. Before we dive in, just a quick note. Eric and I are not medical doctors, nutritionists, or licensed health practitioners. We're simply sharing our own experiences and what's worked for us. Please do your own research and always consult with a qualified healthcare provider before making any changes to your diet, exercise, or lifestyle. Thanks. Welcome back. If you caught episode 341, you know this is part 2 of our 2-part series with my husband and partner, Eric Jay Begay. We're continuing the conversation about our holistic lifestyle, from nutrition and movement to everyday choices that help us live with more energy and clarity. If you missed part 1, I encourage you to go back and listen to episode 341 first so you have the full picture. Yeah, I agree with everything you said. Thank you for sharing your favorite health dishes and foods and regimens that get you excited. And you highlighted a few things that I want to highlight back to the listener and just for myself. You said, it may sound boring that I eat similar things, and it sounds bland and it doesn't sound exciting, but it is. And I'm glad you brought up that point because I felt like after I mentioned in 340 what I eat for breakfast, lunch, and dinner for snacks, hearing it from the perspective of somebody who likes to go out to eat fast food and they hear like these 3 same-esque meals time and time again, I could see from their perspective of going, oh, how boring. You lead such a drag life, you know? But that's not the case at all. It really is euphoric and divine eating this way because if you're eating living foods, you're alive. Mm-hmm. And so to have that bliss and to have that joy radiate from the inside out, like I can never turn back to how we were eating back in 2009 to 2012. Mm-hmm. Like that's when we made that pivotal decision because of the pain I was in. But looking at that lifestyle choice, and even just my disclaimer too, if you haven't listened to 340, one of the things I say in that episode is like, we use this word diet, but I don't say it in a way for vanity. We're not using diet to say like, you need to be a certain way or follow a certain method. It's a lifestyle choice. Like, so when I say, and we talk about like, hey, research the anti-inflammatory diet, I don't even sync up with that verbiage. That doesn't resonate with how we conduct and use it in our life. It feels like a lifestyle choice. Mm-hmm. It feels like a holistic way of being and living. And diet could easily, especially in the Western civilization, in the countries of the West, in the Western culture, sound restrictive. Mm-hmm. Sounds like you're adding up points. Sounds like Jenny Craig. Mm. But that's not the context in which we mean it. It's like it's like my identity now. Mm-hmm. God showed us how he created food and how it's supposed to nourish us. And based on that, that's our North Star. That's our guiding post. And because of that, we are going to sway one way or the other and on this path and not always be perfect. But if you have that baseline and you know what works for you, if you do get off track, your body will tell you. Like you said, if I decided to go the other way for about a month, I will notice it. Mm-hmm. And it will be evident. And you can notice it because of that foundation you've built.
Right.
So if you go wayward, you can come back. You can always pick up where you left off. So all that's to say is, like, I don't want you to hear the word diet, because I know diet could sound like a 4-letter word, and it could sound like a fad. It could sound like vanity. And it's about healing. It's about nourishment. It's about energy. It's about rest and digest. It's about giving your body the support it needs so you can be supported on stage, at your desk, with your family and friends. And so I loved how you said this lifestyle, this way of eating, isn't boring. I get rejuvenated. Eric and I could not stop umming and awing with last night's dinner. Between all the different seasonings and spices with cinnamon and cumin and ginger and garlic and salt and pepper, our taste buds were alive. And every single one of those spices is life and fuel for your body, for nourishment. Like cinnamon helps with blood flow. All of those spices are anti-inflammatory. And they help with, seriously, like some of them, and you can quote me on this, and I will put research and links below, but some of those spices are actually help prevent cancer. I don't know which one specifically, but they are life-giving. And you can smell it, and it's just like, oh my gosh, the aromas. Even I was geeking out to you last night about, like, turmeric is a root, ginger is a root. You smell those two together in the bottles, together simultaneously, you're like, they smell like a pairing. Mm-hmm. They smell like they go together. And I don't know, it's invigorating and it's fun. So if you are considering, like, I know my body's not working for me, I know I need a change, Eric said it beautifully. You can do it one step at a time. And don't think, because I think often of my one student when she was getting ready for the military, she had to be within a certain weight requirement for actually like boot camp. So totally different conversation we're having. This is just the context for this student we'll just call Jane. Jane was saying, like, I need to fit into these military requirements, etc. Give me some tips. And we were talking about food and everything, and I was telling her about the things that you and I love to do. And her response, Eric, was, how can you deprive yourself of those yummy foods? And she was referring to cookies, cake, fast food, Wendy's, Burger King, etc. And I was like, I don't see it as deprivation at all. I'm not depriving myself. Mm-hmm. It's not deprivation anymore once you know what those foods and what kind of symptoms come from that lifestyle.
Right.
Insomnia, heart palpitations, breaking out, brain fog, no energy, always hopped up on caffeine and coffee. Your adrenal glands are probably going through the roof. Cortisol levels are going through the roof. That does not sound appealing to me anymore. Yeah. So coming over here, I'm not depriving myself of anything. Mm-hmm. The dates are just as sweet, if not sweeter, than a donut, but in a better way.
Yeah, we always compare everything to dates now.
Everything. We do.
I feel like we do. I mean, like, why would you eat that when you eat the sweetest, most natural thing, which is a date?
Yeah. And when you're making these switches and you know, like, what's working for you and what's not working for you, when you start feeling that brain fog diminish, your skin clearing up, you having more natural energy or whatever health benefit and goal you're trying to reach, and you start hitting those goals out of the park, and you're like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I have less breakouts. Oh my gosh, my PMS symptoms are way less. Then you keep up with a certain lifestyle because of those results. It's a no-brainer for me now.
Right.
I've been on this journey now for 15 years. And what was it, last summer with like one of your family members or something? We were grilling out in the backyard, and I was like, okay, I'll have a beer. Mm-hmm. It's summertime. We're celebrating. That one beer, within 20 to 30 minutes, the pain in my leg, in my left pelvic area, flared up within 30 minutes.
Right.
It was the gluten, it was the alcohol. Which brings me back to a second point I want to highlight from your amazing testimonial, and that is something I forgot to mention in E340, and that is the top 3 things that I would remove from anybody's diet if I was giving the best of the best advice. Take out gluten, take out refined sugars, take out alcohol. Poison, poison, poison. If you don't even know where to start, do that.
Right.
And then just start replacing. So you don't feel like you are like my student, air quote, Jane. So you don't feel like you are depriving yourself. Replace. So if you're not getting French fries from Wendy's anymore, replace it with Jack's sweet potato chips. Don't eat. We eat so many calories throughout the day. It's insane. But it's calories of life-giving food that our bodies are going to know what to do and how to break it down to digest it so that there's not dis-ease or disease in the body.
That's
so
true.
Eat. It's not, that's why I want to say, disclaimer and underline this, not a diet in the sense of vanity or a diet in the sense of like counting points or you're restrictive or like, oh, I can't eat too much. No, if you're eating life-giving anti-inflammatory foods, you can eat as much as you want. One of the things that Kristen told me one time, I called her when we were just a year, this was around actually the pandemic in 2020. I just wanted to experiment with the vegan diet for a while, just to see what it would do for our bodies to remove meat. And if I could it's kind of, when you get on this health journey in a very healthy way, you kind of almost start experimenting and asking yourself ooh, how can I tweak the system? How can I push the envelope in a healthy way? What are the other possibilities? Do you see what I'm saying? So I think around the pandemic, I was like, I wonder what veganism would do for us for a while. And I was kind of concerned of, not eating enough or not having that protein from meat. And Kristen was like, eat as much as you want. You're craving a sweet potato? Don't eat just a sweet potato and see it anymore as just like a side to chicken, but see it as the meal itself. And remember, for lunch, I would have maybe 2 or 3 sweet potatoes when I was going through that journey of just seeing what veganism could do for my health.
Right.
It didn't stick. I did a vegan diet for 90 days. And I was like, yep, I didn't feel completely supported. So I added back in fish and lean poultry. But eat. So the point is that word diet sounds like it restricts you. No, if you're eating good foods, you can eat as much as you want. So when Kristen was saying when she makes a salad and people hear, oh, I had a salad for lunch. And people tell her, her friends, oh, Kristen, you need to have more than just a salad. She's like, no, you're under the impression that I'm having a side salad that's kind of small and cutesy for lunch. She's like, no, girl, I'm having a big salad like Elaine Bennett on Seinfeld. And George is like, well, what's in a big salad? Is it big cucumbers? And she's like, my salad is ginormous.
Right.
This thing could feed 3 or 4 people. And I eat as much as I want because I know it has nutrients and it's what my body needs for me to feel healthy and full.
I'm so hungry right now.
But I'm glad that came up. I'm glad we're having this conversation about that specifically because there's a lot of myths that need to be debunked.
Yeah. No, I mean, there are times I sat down with a personal watermelon and ate a whole watermelon in one sitting. I'm not talking about a 6-pound watermelon. I'm talking about one of them small ones that look like a volleyball size.
Like 3 pounds.
Yeah, I literally ate one whole one to myself one time. So
yeah.
Mono meals are great.
Mono meals. That's something else I wish I would have mentioned. This is why I'm writing a book, because you can't mention everything in one podcast episode.
Right.
Which, by the way, there's your call to action, because I'm thinking of it. Sign up to the Flute 360 newsletter. All you have to do is go to the show notes below, click the Join Flute 360 newsletter, because I will be dropping in teasers these next couple months, up to a year, about my upcoming book publication. So I wanted to put that out, and I hope that you will be the first on the to-buy list. But yeah, that's why we have to have multiple conversations on this, because I can't fit it all into one podcast episode. I'm going to forget something.
Yeah. No, I mean, the conversation can go on and on and on. So
yeah, in all these different realms, for sure. I'm so glad you brought up things to remove, and we talked about gluten, and that's just because the wheat here in the States is genetically modified. Alcohol, refined sugars, gluten. I'm so glad you brought that up. The other thing I wanted to make sure that we unpacked or I addressed was just your journey and the lessons you learned. And in addition to your lifestyle choices with exercise and stuff and everything, you just painted this beautiful picture for the listener. What is like one or two things that you've learned through this health journey that you would like to convey? So we've been saying things like benefits of like sleeping better, less insomnia, more energy, less brain fog. But if you had to just so you could kind of timestamp it and have it as a digital record just for your own self and for your own journey, just to kind of put it out there in a recording so we can listen back to it someday. In these 15 years through this health journey, what has been one or two of the main eye-opening experiences that you've had, or lessons of aha moments that you've had that you want to articulate and just kind of record for record's sake?
right. I think one thing is it's never too late, and it gets easier. And what I mean by that is you could start at any point. I think a lot of this happened when I turned 30, when all this went down for you. And
I was
me
about
just
25, yeah.
tagging along with you, I just went on this journey, and it's never too late to change that. You could always change it. The earlier, the better. The more conscious you are about these things, you can help yourself. It gets easier. What I mean by that is the more you start to biohack your life, the more you start trying these things, that more you start researching and trying things that will help you faster and better, it gets easier. Like these days, we could do a 36, 48-hour fast like nothing now. That's easy. I could just stop eating tomorrow and be okay with fasting and still exercise and still do the regular things. I'll be happy to do that. That's not too difficult to do anymore. And even just staying away from certain foods that are not healthy for you. Like I don't crave sugary drinks no more. I don't have any other cravings on anything else. That's not a problem anymore. It feels good to get strong too. Like when you're actually working on building muscle or training your body to do things that it never used to do before. In the middle of the day, and probably this would be my third one, is in the middle of the day when I'm feeling a little bit on the tired side, like my body started to get tired. I should feel like I have energy, but I don't. And I try to understand why. I'll put my running shoes on and I'll do like 10 to 15 minutes of kettlebells to get my heart rate pumping, or I'll go on a 3-mile run. Right after I'm done, I'll feel normal again. I'll feel energized. So if you want to make energy, you have to do the things like running or exercising, doing something. Get out and walk. It'll give you energy. And I never knew that. I always thought if you felt lazy, you just take a nap and lay down. You probably, for me, my body and how it works, getting my heart rate up, putting my body into motion and sweating a little bit really puts me in a better mood and wakes me up. Better than drinking coffee, I have to say.
Yeah.
That's it right there.
Yeah. It's never too late. And I love that because
it gets easier, and spend your energy to make energy.
Spend your energy to make energy.
Run, exercise. Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. Feeling stressed, moody, or foggy? Sometimes the root isn't your schedule. It's what's on your plate and how you're moving your body. That's why on Saturday, October 25th, the Flute 360 Accelerator is hosting Markel Brown, a coach, flutist, and licensed nutritionist. She'll share how colorful foods, simple movement, and mindful living can calm your mood and give you more clarity in daily life. Join us inside our most popular level, Tier 2 of the Accelerator. Click the link in the show notes to reserve your spot and start feeling better from the inside out. It can go a long way. And even if you're not a runner and you're not into running, walking has tremendous health benefits. And actually, there's a lot of studies out there that say that walking is just as good, if not better, than running.
Right.
Because it's less pressure or less, what's the word I'm looking for?
Impact,
thank you, on your joints.
Right.
Yeah, so walking can do, and the reason why I say that too is because sometimes like people think, maybe they discredit a workout like that. And they think, oh, it's just walking. It's just 10, 20 minutes of walking. What can that do? It can do a lot. Brighten up your mood, get your heart pumping a little bit, helps with the oxygen flow. And if that's the case, the blood's flowing, the oxygen is flowing, the nutrients are flowing.
I heard that walking, and I don't know if this is true, I have to research it more, but you end up burning more fat faster because it's low impact exercise. You end up burning fat right instantly when you start walking rather than running, because when you run, you're burning your glycogen storages, the so-called sugar in your muscles to get your body moving. Mm-hmm. I mean, you're still burning energy, but walking is supposed to be said to be healthier because it's low impact, less cortisol happens, and you end up burning fat a lot faster and instantly as soon as you start moving and walking.
Yeah. No, I love that. Low impact. So don't discredit something that seems like, oh, that's not going to do much. Like, for example, I'm just as guilty of this. Like, we had still a lot of fruits and nuts and everything available in our pantry and our fridge between having to go out and get some more food for later. So my point is, you look at the fruits and the nuts, and I can easily think, oh, I'm not going to eat those blueberries. Like, that's not going to do much. That's not going to fulfill me. And sure enough, if you eat a pint or two of blueberries and you pair that with some nuts and oranges or pineapple or a cup of quinoa, oh my gosh, it fills you up really fast and quick. And you're satisfied. You're going to be completely filled. So don't underestimate the power of those pumpkin seeds or those blueberries or that simple 15, 20-minute walk. Something is better than nothing. Yeah. So I'm glad we talked about things that we would remove, your journey. Thank you for that nugget of saying it's never too late. And that reminds me of our aging parents, who are in their 60s and 70s and they have health problems. And they call us and saying, oh my gosh, this hurts, my chest hurts, all this. You're like, change, start walking, start moving, like with your father. And he probably has, I don't want to put words in his mouth, but he probably is under some impression of like, oh, it's too late. That's not going to do much. And you're actually correcting him, lovingly correcting him and saying, no, it can do a lot. So a little can go a long way. And you don't always have to show up when you feel completely motivated or inspired. Consistency counts. And with that being said, as we're wrapping up this amazing conversation, I appreciate your insight, Eric, and I appreciate the knowledge that you have brought to this whole journey with me and just showcasing your testimony through all of this. And I'm glad we're doing it together. It's a lot easier doing it with somebody than alone. Mm-hmm. But you can anybody who needs to maybe do it alone, all it takes is that courage and that first step and to have that willpower to show up. And it can be a completely, I think we are, because of that pain of the endometriosis, at the time it felt like a curse, but in actuality, it was a massive blessing. It told me that my body wasn't being supported and something needed to change. And if you listen to those symptoms, if you listen to your body telling you what it needs, and you actually tune in and adjust and listen and give it what it needs to thrive, you can be in a completely different place than you were 6 months ago, 12 months ago, 15 years ago.
Right.
I mean, we're on a completely different trajectory because of that one pivot.
Yeah.
And it's led and opened up other pathways and other doors.
Right.
Now I'm doing strength training. And I never was doing strength training before, but now I'm doing strength training. And how much have you learned about that? How people in their 40s, how important it is for people to get those weights and to get those muscles pumping for the longevity of the second half of their life.
Yeah.
And those twitch muscles. And
your health is your wealth.
it sounds cheesy, but it's so true.
It really is, because if you can't buy health overnight. Like if you were unhealthy yesterday,
Yep.
you can't just spend $100,000 and be healthy tomorrow. It's
an investment.
It's really something you have to do over time. And I would rather have all working limbs and working organs than to be
$1 million in the bank.
Yeah, I mean, instantly, yeah. I would pick my health to feel normal every day rather than have a lot of money.
And be in pain.
Yeah.
I mean, health and having $1 million wouldn't be so bad.
Yeah.
But having $1 million and having cancer, not so fun.
No, because you can't do anything. You know,
Yeah. You're bedridden.
Yeah, it wouldn't be fun. But that's all I would like to end with is your health is your wealth. If you take care of yourself, you're going to feel like $1 million.
Yeah. That was good. In Heidi's world, that was nice. That was chef's kiss. I love that. Oh, perfect. So we have not done picks in a long time, and I want to end with picks just so I can put a bow on this conversation. Because last week I forgot about 3 or 4 things that I totally forgot that we implement in our lifestyle and our diet. And the first thing is pink Himalayan salt, great for trace minerals. The other favorite thing in my pick for today is eating the kiwi with the skin on. Oh my goodness. It sounds gross because like if you're a texture person and you're like, ew, that's going to feel weird in my mouth. It doesn't. It does not. You could, to make it less bristly or less rough, you can take your thumb and take that kiwi and just gently kind of rub the skin under running water under the faucet so it's less rough. It doesn't change the texture too much. I don't even do that. I just throw the whole kiwi in my mouth. I take off the little buttons on either side of the kiwi because those you can't digest very easily and they're rough. But eating the kiwi with the skin on is the best thing to make your GI tract fall in love with you. And if you support your liver and your digestive tract, your gut is your second brain. So if that's cleaned out and moving beautifully, oh my gosh, talk about a surge of energy. I love eating kiwi with the skin on. And when you consume the skin, you are receiving 50% more fiber than if you would just eat the meat.
Wow.
Isn't that amazing?
It is amazing.
And it feels like, not to be too much TMI or gross, but the little bristles on the skin feels like like a toothbrush bristle going inside your small and large intestine and sweeping out the small crevices of the intestine. That's how of a deep cleaning it feels. It feels like I'm getting a polishing from the inside out.
Wow.
Yeah. So if you need help in that area, or if you want to have like an energy glow up, kiwi with the skin on, hands down, that's my $1 million coaching tip right there. Moving on through my picks, another one is beef broth.
I second that.
Beef broth. Amazing for the lining of your gut. Just amazing. And you're looking for grass-fed. Now, Eric mentioned fasting before. That's another pick of mine today. Eric and I completed about 2 months ago a 3-day water fast. And we got a lot of clarity in what we were looking for within the spiritual realm. But that was the longest fast I had ever done. So look at, isn't it called intermittent fasting? Look at intermittent fasting, water fasting, And of course, do that with a lot of research and be medically sound as you go into that.
Yeah, the intermittent fasting is shorter.
Shorter.
Yeah, like 16, maybe 12, 16, and 18, 24, or right around there, yeah.
But yeah, I say that because there's different durations of health benefits and medicinal benefits that come from fasting in different shapes and forms.
Right.
So you could do a 12-hour fast, a 24-hour fast. We were doing a 3-day fast just because that gets down to the cellular level. But
Autophagy.
fasting, say that again.
Autophagy.
Yes. So fasting is another one on my picks list for today. The other thing I forgot to mention in E340, grounding sheets.
Oh.
Grounding sheets. It reduces the inflammation in your body. Now, of course, if you have like long PJs, like the footsie, what did they used to call that? Like the little kids used to wear, like the footsie pajamas, where it goes all the way from the foot and you zipper all the way up.
Mm-hmm. I know what you mean, but I don't know.
Long johns. If you're wearing long johns to bed, you're not going to have the benefits of the grounding sheets because it has to come into contact with your skin. Oh. So if you go to bed with like boxers on, shorts on, a tank top on, you're going to receive the benefits. But grounding sheets, amazing. And we had to get rid of ours, remember? And I have to buy some new ones. And I say that because I feel a difference with versus without them.
Oh.
Yeah.
Nice.
Grounding sheets. And the other thing, my last pick of the day, I haven't done enough of this to really notice the before and after, but energizing the water you consume for the day with the sun rays. Because the sun rays and the sunlight actually changes the molecular level of the water molecules. And I'm going to do more of research on that. But see, you can really, Eric's looking at me smiling like, oh, you're geeking out, girl. But you can geek out about this all the way down to how your water is energized, all the way to the sheets that you lay on at night.
I'm just going to walk down to the pond and get a scoop of water.
Yeah. I would not recommend that. You kind of have to filter out that bad boy. But no, if you do it in a glass jar, like a mason jar, don't do it in plastic because that's not going to be good for the microplastics. But put your water in a glass jar, set it outside for, I don't even know how long you're supposed to do it, like 4 or 5 hours, and then consume it. Because our bodies are made up of, just like the earth, 75% of water. So the quality of water that you consume matters to your water-based body.
You blow my mind.
Yeah. So sun ray charged water is another pick of mine too. It sounds there's nothing hippie about this, but it makes me feel very like, hipster, hippie. I love it. Yeah. So what are your picks? Because you second beef broth.
Oh.
What else would you have for your picks?
If I were to pick one that makes me like today was awesome for me. I sweated like really, really hard. I got a 30-minute kettlebell workout in and a 1-mile run in, and I was sprinting. So the sweating was what I picked. If you're going to work out till you sweat hard. Mm-hmm. Be careful with your heart if you have heart issues.
Yep.
But sweat hard during your workout. You're going to feel fantastic.
Yeah. It lifts up your mood, energy. And that's the other thing I want to end on is just like, you're talking about all these foods and lifestyle choices. And we're talking about like actual physical symptoms that we are experiencing because of eating a kiwi versus a cake. It's just not the physical symptoms that get better, but it's also your emotional world and your spiritual world improve too because of this lifestyle change. Wouldn't you agree?
I agree.
Yeah. It's not just actually physically feeling good, but it's a spiritual and emotional high as well.
Right.
Well, thank you everyone for listening to today's episode. I want to give a special shout out to my friend, client, and student, Erin Rauch, for giving a rating and a review to the Flute 360 podcast. She is a fantastic mother, teacher, friend, and flutist. And if you need help with anything admin-wise for your remote music business, She is your girl. She is a virtual assistant or a VA, and she helps with systems, back-end stuff, and she will get you flowing oh so beautifully between your appointments, your to-do lists, and coaching you along the way. So I will put her website, her resource, and her Facebook profile links in the show notes below so you can reach out to her if that is something that you are needing or requesting from Erin. And if this entire conversation has left you oh so giddy and wanting more of your amazing questions answered, you definitely want to come into the Flute 360 Accelerator group for October. And that's the last Saturday of the month, which is October 25th, 2025, from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Central Time. And I'm highlighting this special session because our very one and only Flute 360er in the group, Markel Brown, is our special guest for October. She is a licensed nutritionist and a life coach, and she is going to talk about the different colors of the rainbow and how it can lift up your body, your mood, your spirit when done right, and everything that we've talked about these last few weeks. She's going to bring it together in her presentation, and if you want to pick her brain, an expert's brain in this arena, 1025 is where you want to be. There's a seat for you at the Flute 360 table. You are more than welcome. Please join us, and this is my personal invite from me to you. Click the link in the show notes below. Thank you so much for listening, and until next time. That wraps up part 2 of our wellness series. Thank you so much for joining us in these past 2 episodes. Eric and I loved sharing our testimony and what's worked for us. If this conversation encouraged you, I'd love to hear from you. Send me a note. Share this episode with a friend. Or come join us inside the Flute 360 Accelerator, where we continue diving into holistic ways to thrive as musicians. Until next time, take care of yourself and keep showing up as your best instrument. Let's talk about flute.